There is a crisis in Indian education that is not trending on social media right now. It is not about the leaked exam papers or the rat race that we always hear about. It's a silent tragedy that is happening right under our noses in the primary education system. You will see many videos on the broken education system of India, but I think discussing everything that is wrong with the entire education system is too much to cover in just one video. Instead, I just want to focus on the primary education system, and in this episode of Easy to Miss, we are going to discuss just that. To understand why the Indian primary education system is such a disaster, we have to stop obsessing over the enrollment numbers. For decades, we have been bragging about 97% enrollment rate in schools as if simply building the classroom meant the learning would happen on its own. But we completely ignored what is actually happening inside the classrooms. We confuse schooling with learning. The reality on the ground is what experts call learning poverty. It means that a huge number of 5th grade students cannot even read a basic sentence in their own language. They are physically sitting in the classroom, but intellectually they were left behind years ago. And the truth is, once a kid falls behind in the primary school, the system almost never lets them catch up. In this video, we are going into the deep cracks in our education system and looking at the terrifying reality that no one is talking about seriously right now. Before we start, first we need to understand this. When it comes to higher education, for a country of 1.5 billion people, we are actually doing quite alright. We have the IITs, the IIMs, top tier medical colleges, and a massive network of central and state universities. Is that system perfect? No. It needs a lot more funding and better access to a lot more students. The government can do a much better job just to be at par with developed countries. But it is functioning and evolving quite well. But the moment you shift your focus from higher education to government-run primary schools, that picture of progress completely collapses. Just look at the reality on the ground. This is the condition of our government schools. You will see cracked walls, roofs on the verge of collapse, children sitting on the floor, no functional toilets, no clean drinking water, shortage of teachers, and a whole lot of other problems that we will discuss later in this video. Many schools don't even have boundary walls, and this is the reason someone who barely crosses the poverty line don't want to send their kids to a government-run primary school. Just ask yourself, would you feel safe leaving your 5 or 6-year-old or a 7-year-old child in a place like that? But the real tragedy is our political system has normalized this condition, and we as a society have quietly accepted this. Because when we think of government schools, we don't expect any better. To truly understand the gravity of the situation, we need to consider the scale of the Indian education system first. We are a country of nearly 1.5 billion people. We have about 15 lakh schools and a massive student population of 25 crores. Now look at the split. Roughly 70% of these schools are government run, which is about 10,50,000. And these government schools educate about 55% of the total student population in the country, which would be around 13.75 crores. Let's say 15 crores. So 10 lakh schools for 15 crore students, which is 150 students per school, and this number may vary a little. And mind you, these schools are not for the elite. They serve the poor and the lower middle class. These schools are responsible to educate the majority of Indian children, but in so many cases, they are not even covering the basics. And honestly, that is the root of the problem. Because the sad reality in our country is nobody really cares about these children. The schools exist mostly to tick a box on a government document. But the fact is, nobody in the government or in the administration actually cares about the quality of education infrastructure or the quality of teachers in these schools. In India, primary school teachers don't get the respect they deserve. It was not always like this. 30 years ago maybe, wearing the title of a teacher was a badge of honor. We had a generation of people who taught because they truly believed in it. But today, the system has been hijacked, and because of this, finding the genuinely dedicated teachers has become nearly impossible. The primary school system is ruined by a corrupt political system and an equally corrupt and rigid bureaucracy. Corruption happens on a huge scale, including scams involving teachers hiring, student meals, stolen school funds, and negligence at all levels. Bad management is destroying primary education just as much as the stealing is. So let's break down these scams one by one. First, let's look at the teachers recruitment scam. Despite the need for full-time educators, government often resort to hiring teachers on an ad hoc or a contractual basis. These teachers are paid a very minimal salary, which is often less than manual laborers, and they are denied job security or benefits. This creates a demotivated workforce. For these teachers, it is difficult to perform their duty properly when they are constantly protesting for their own rights. This systemic neglect discourages India's brightest minds to become primary school teachers. And it is not like the government doesn't know about this. The government know very well, but they they choose not to fix it because a broken system helps them politically. If you're wondering how that works, I would strongly recommend watching these two videos by Dr. Bikas Dibyakirti, where he explains how the government intentionally creates temporary teaching jobs and how thousands of these teachers are forced to protest and struggle for years just to become permanent employees. This whole cycle generates votes, control, and political mileage. It's a system that is designed to keep people dependent, frustrated, and stuck, and unfortunately it works. A major counter-argument from the government is lack of funds. But this claim is not entirely true when you look at the state expenditure on infrastructure and corporate subsidies. It is a question of allocation and not availability. Let's look at the state of Odisha. With a state budget of 2.7 lakh crores, raising the average teacher salary to a respectable 60,000 per month would roughly cost 6,000 crores annually. This is a fraction of the budget, but the government refuses to implement it. To give you some context, Mukesh Ambani reportedly spent nearly $500 million, which is about 4,500 crores, just on his son's wedding. In addition to this, we have seen other huge scams in teachers' recruitment, such as the Cash for Job scam in West Bengal, that exposed the dirty reality of the education system to the whole country. We all saw the news, piles of currency notes recovered from the homes of politicians. It turned out that the job of a teacher was effectively being auctioned off. You want a secure government job? It did not matter if you passed the exam or if you had the aptitude to teach. You just need to pay the bribe. 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, sometimes even more. While the truly deserving candidates are left protesting on the streets or fed up with frustration. Recruitment exam paper leaks happen all the time. These scams generate so much revenue for the perpetrators that no judiciary, no law, or no individual can touch them or take any action against them. And this is one of the main reasons why we end up with substandard teachers in the primary education system. And this corruption is not limited to recruitments only. Favorable transfers and promotions are also being influenced by corrupt practices. You have to bribe a top official for a transfer or a promotion, and often politicians also have a stake in that money. This whole practice leads to unfairness and inequality. Even if such corruption instances are exposed, nothing changes. No one gets punished and no one takes responsibility. Eventually, these teachers also stop caring about their ethical duties. Because of these reasons, talented individuals migrate to cities in search of corporate careers because the teaching profession in government school has been stripped of its dignity. And don't be surprised when I say this is just a small part of the problem. Let's talk about midday meal scams. In simple terms, the midday meal scheme was created to give free food to kids at school. The main goal was to keep children from being malnourished, get more kids to enroll and attend school, help students from different backgrounds get along, and give jobs to women. But the program has been plagued by scams. The money and the food meant for hungry children are often stolen. Officials and teachers might lie about how many students are in a school so they can get more money and food than they need. This extra food is then sold for personal profit. It's a well-known issue that some teachers and school staff in India steal food meant for students from the midday meal program. They take ration items like eggs and lentils for their own consumption. Instead of providing nutritious meals, some people involved in the scheme take the money and serve low-quality food to innocent children. This turns a program meant to help children into a way for corrupt individuals to make money. As a result, the students remain undernourished and their education suffers. But stealing food is not the only crime happening in these schools. There is something much stranger going on. On paper, India's government school permanent teachers are among the best paid in the developing world. But if you walk into a classroom, you will find a very disturbing reality. On any given day, in India, roughly 25% of government school teachers are absent. That is 1 in 4 teachers just not there. But before we start blaming the teachers entirely, we have to understand why this is happening. The system actually pulls them out of the classroom for everything except teaching. We use our teachers for election duties, for census surveys, for vaccination drives, and even for overseeing midday meals. They have become the government's all-purpose workforce. When you combine that with poor infrastructure in rural areas and a total lack of accountability for those who do actually skip, you get a system where the person meant to guide our children is either missing or too burnt out to teach when they finally show up. A vast majority of these absences are unauthorized leaves, leaving classrooms empty and students neglected. And the financial drain from this teacher absenteeism is over $1.5 billion every year. I'm not saying every teacher is incompetent or bad. Majority of the teacher population in India is honest and hardworking. But the attitude of some government teachers is shocking. Instead of teaching, they treat students like personal servants. You see young children washing dishes from the midday meals, sweeping classrooms, and even fetching water. They are not learning, they are being used as free labor. We have even seen reports of teachers showing up drunk, completely unfit to be around children. But how does this happen? Because the entire system is rigged. Many of these teachers game the system to get these jobs in many different ways. For example, some of them buy B.Ed degrees from colleges in states like Andhra Pradesh without attending a single class, and then they use that degree to get a job in Odisha. Some women even get fake divorces just to exploit some recruitment rules that grant quota quotas to divorces. As of September 2025, the School and Mass Education Minister of Odisha revealed that 424 teachers across the state had been suspended for using fake certificates just to get these jobs. And similar incidents happened in 2019 also, where a total of 217 such cases at the primary or upper primary level highlighted a persistent problem over several years. When the foundation of a teacher's career is built on fraud, you cannot expect them to perform their duty with honesty. The sad truth is, many of these teachers cannot even write a proper application or solve 5th grade mathematics. They lack the passion, the personality, and the basic knowledge to teach. And this is why the system is truly broken, because there is a lack of accountability from all the stakeholders that run the system, and lack of basic dignity for the students, and the political engine seems to be fine about it. The real question is, if the primary education system in such a bad condition, why does the government keep pumping money into the system without any major reforms? The simple answer is contracts. To be fair, on paper the government launches fantastic schemes such as the free midday meals, school uniforms, bicycles, and even free laptops in some states. But when it comes to execution, that is where the system fails and the schemes turns into scams. These programs have become a cash cow for political parties, local power brokers, and corrupt bureaucrats. They don't see a laptop scheme as a way to educate a child, they see it as a tender to be looted. Every time you see a government official living in a massive house, driving a luxury car, and sending their own kids to international schools, ask yourself, how could they afford that? That money did not come from their salary, it came from the budget meant for the poor. It came from the stolen future of a child who never got that laptop or that nutritious meal. The system is not failing by accident, it is failing by design, and is a well-oiled machinery specifically designed to leak money at every single level. And do you know why this theft continues unchecked? Because it has become normalized. This is the real tragedy. From the teachers to the bureaucrats, all the way up to the ministry, nobody treats these as urgent issues. Unless a video goes viral or the media screams about it, no one lifts a finger. Otherwise, it is just business as usual. But let me ask you the most important question. How many of these politicians, bureaucrats, or education department officers actually send their own children to these government schools? The truth is, the people who run the system do not trust the system. These people want everything in private for their families and send their kids to fancy private schools. They know that a broken system benefits them because an uneducated, dependent population is easier to control than an educated and questioning one. The real tragedy is the poor have given up. They have been beaten down by the system so many times that they no longer have the fight left in them. And it is not their job to fight, it's the government's job to serve and provide. I'm not saying developed countries are perfect. People complain about schools in Europe and America too. But here is the difference. In the developed countries, they have set a minimum standard. A normal government school in countries like Japan or Denmark has well-built classrooms, playgrounds, and sports infrastructure, a proper library, clean drinking water, functional toilets and washrooms, a kitchen and a hygienic dining area, professional teachers with proper training, school buses, security cameras, elevators, wide corridors, even air conditioning and swimming pool in many cases, along with world-class training. And most of this is managed with minimal corruption. Now look at India. Forget swimming pools here. We don't even know if the roof over your head will hold up, because collapsing structures are very common in India, and yet there is zero accountability. No one goes to jail for endangering your children. In fact, in India, the politicians, the bureaucrats, and the people on the top of the system never go to jail for corruption. In developed countries, they focus on mental health, creativity, and inquiry-based learning on their government schools. And what do our kids get? They get cracked walls, substandard food, and irresponsible teachers. While a child in Tokyo is learning how to code or swim or prepare for the Olympics, a child in rural India in government primary school is wondering why the toilet is so dirty or why there is no water in the toilet. The contrast is painful. A good education system does not promise to make every child a genius, but it guarantees one thing: confidence. It produces citizens with good civic sense who know their rights, their worth, and how to carry themselves in the society. And India desperately needs these citizens right now. We are talking about the most sensitive and the curious years of a child's life. This is the age when someone is between 4 and 15 years old. The most sensitive, curious, and formative years of someone's life is being forced into a corrupt, outdated, and scandal-ridden system that kills their curiosity and self-worth. This is the age to play, explore, ask questions, and build a personality. But instead, they are being sent to dilapidated schools taught by demotivated or underqualified teachers and exposed to everything except real learning. They grow up with low expectations, not just from the education but from life itself. They don't come out as confident citizens. They come out as extra weight on a struggling society. And that's when the politicians show up again with slogans, speeches, and fake promises. So when you put it all together, the conclusion is simple. The system is working exactly as designed. The system that is failing is not because of lack of resources or talent or funds, but because of lack of intent. Because a broken system is politically beneficial and a win-win for everyone except for the real beneficiaries. So the question is not, can we fix this? The real question is, do we even want to? Let me know in the comments what you think about this topic and how I could have improved this video. Thank you for watching.